Question coming in from Tina. Can you go back to gluten after leaky gut is healed? How do you know when leaky gut is healed? Once diagnosed as gluten sensitive, is it forever? This is a great question. If you were accurately identified as gluten sensitive, meaning the only true way to know is to do genetic testing. Genetic testing tells you whether or not you have the genes that are gluten sensitive positive. These genes, if you have them, they don't change, right? So it's one of those areas where if you are genetically gluten sensitive and you eat gluten, then your body's normal response to gluten will be to create inflammation to try to protect you from it. So if you've been accurately diagnosed through genetic testing, no, you can never go back and eat gluten. I'm actually going to put in a link in the chat box for everyone to learn a little bit more about genetic testing. So if you go to that, if you follow that link in the chat box, you'll find that link there to learn a little bit more about genetic testing to get an accurate representation of whether or not you're gluten sensitive. Now, the other question is, how do you know if you have leaky gut? There is no great test for leaky gut. There are great gut tests that can tell us the different things that we know can cause leaky gut. But the problem is there are about 12 different known things that we have scientifically studied that can actually cause leaky gut. And so if you're doing that part right, and we don't have inflammation in the gut, and we don't have infection in the gut, and we have good digestive enzyme production in the gut, and we have good healthy bacterial diversity within the gut, then the gut is going to be a generally healthy organ. Now, some things that can also cause leaky gut, like vitamin and mineral deficiencies, these are the same kinds of things that can cause autoimmune triggers. Perfect examples: L-glutamine, vitamin A, zinc deficiency, vitamin B12 and folate deficiencies. All of these nutritional deficiencies can cause leaky gut. So going back to what I've talked about from the beginning of the autoimmune revolution, which is you can't piecemeal this stuff. You've got to go in and you've got to accurately assess all of these things simultaneously so that you can act on them simultaneously. That's the only way your body's going to be able to heal. Because if you've got, for example, maybe you have a leaky gut, but maybe there's 7 different reasons why you have that leaky gut, and you address 3 of those reasons, but not the other 4, you're not going to get better. If you address 5 of those reasons and not the other 2, you're not going to get better. You've got to be comprehensive in your approach. You've got to find somebody, if you're struggling to recover, even though you've done what you think is everything right in your diet and your lifestyle, and you're still struggling, you've got to get with a functional medicine practitioner who's well-versed in a comprehensive approach, like the approach that I've discussed with you during this summit. Suzanne's asking, why do some gluten-free expert doctors say to stay away from beans and lentils, and some say that they are okay? This is because, this goes back to what I was talking about with fasting. Fasting is important for many people because if your gut is damaged, or if your gut is tired and worn out, and you eat beans and lentils as a staple food, remember that beans and lentils, by definition, are seeds, okay? Seeds are hard to digest. And so if your gut's already broken and you're trying to put in a staple food that's extremely hard to digest, you're going to burden your gut further. It's not the same thing as allergy. We're just simply talking about beans and seeds or lentils can be a burden on a gut that's already broken. And if you're trying to recover your gut and you're eating a lot of those foods, you're not going to recover very effectively. So that's why many doctors will say that. Of course, there are other reasons like lectins, and there are other proteins in beans that can shut down your digestion, but those are, secondary reasons. Okay, next question. If the IgG4 delayed food allergy test detected both avocado and eggs to be very high, is this caused from a leaky gut, and could this lead to an autoimmune problem? So first of all, I don't like IgG subtype 4 tests. They're not very accurate, and there's a lot of flaws and problems with these types of tests. If you're really going to do accurate allergy testing, there's IgG, there's IgA, there's IgM, there's IgD, there's immune complex, there's T cell responses. There's also IgE. So you've got 7 different ways the immune system can respond. If you're measuring one subfraction of those 7, you're not going to get a super accurate result. So I would find a doctor who understands that allergy testing needs to be comprehensive before I would trust the result of a single IgG subtype test. Now, can allergies be caused by leaky gut? Yes, they can. But there's 2 kinds of allergies. So to answer the fundamental of this question, There's what we would call true allergies, which is an allergy that you have that is probably not going to go away. It's a true allergy. A classic example of a true allergy is the anaphylactic reactions for a kid with peanut allergy, or for somebody with that shellfish allergy. They eat it, their lips blow up, their eyes swell shut, their throat constricts, and they're in the hospital, and there's a life-threatening scenario. Those are typically what we would deem as a true allergy. Now, then you have acquired allergies. Acquired allergies are typically delayed. The symptoms are not oftentimes as obvious. The symptoms can be subtle and can progressively get worse with time. These are delayed types of symptoms. And so these types oftentimes are acquired allergies, meaning they're caused as a result of a fundamental breakdown in the gut or in your immune system. It doesn't have to be a leaky gut. You could have a breakdown in your immune system that's creating this reaction. So it's kind of a misconception, a common myth, that leaky gut is the only thing that causes us to acquire new food allergies. Although it can, a fundamental breakdown in immune function can also cause allergies as well. It's good questions. Okay, particular suggestions for folks with Sjogren's other than gluten-free. This question from Julie Kolosinski. Thanks for the question, Julie. So answer to the question is there something in particular that somebody with Sjogren's disease should do beyond going gluten-free? Yes. Going back again, I know I'm being very redundant, but I think redundancy is very important, because I think you all need to understand that the name of the autoimmune disease that you have been diagnosed with is simply a name given by a doctor based on the symptoms that your body is expressing. And this is why I'm not a big fan of the labels, of the names. There are 100+ different forms of autoimmunity that doctors have classified, but they all have the same 4 origins: vitamin and mineral deficiencies, food allergies, sensitivities and intolerances, chemical reactions, and infectious agents. So if you investigate those 4 things, again, Sjogren's or not, whether you have Sjogren's, whether you have dermatomyositis, whether you have fibromyalgia, whether you have ulcerative colitis or Crohn's or celiac, those 4 things should be being investigated, because if you're investigating those 4, then you'll have a comprehensive roadmap for how to overcome and recover. Now, again, this is where finding a really solid functional medicine doctor is going to come into play. Hey, don't forget to check out the rest of the series right here. Make sure you hit subscribe below. And as always, thanks for tuning in.